So every editor I've met who's ever truly felt stuck, and I'm talking about stuck creatively, stuck financially, stuck wondering why clients keep choosing someone else, they've all had the same problem. And it wasn't their skill level. It was that their edits looked exactly like everyone else's. So here's what I can say with confidence. Not so long ago, I was reviewing some reels from editors applying for contract work, and I'm not exaggerating, I went through what felt like 30 portfolios in just one sitting. And I couldn't tell you whose was whose. You saw the same zooms, the same lip transitions, same cheap VFX templates. Technically, it was all adequate work, but nothing that made me stop and say, I need to know who made this. And if that's technically where you are right now, if you're technically capable, but your work feels interchangeable, I need you to hear me when I say that it's not a talent problem. That is a process problem. And there is a concrete way out of it. Because guys, the cost of staying here is real. You keep competing on price instead of taste. You keep getting passed over for editors who aren't even better than you. They're just more distinctive. And the longer that you stay in imitation mode, the harder it gets to hear your own creative voice underneath all of that noise. So today, I'm gonna walk you through 5 shifts that will move you from being a copier, something that I did for years, to being a creator. I'm gonna cover how to find your natural instincts, the ones that you've been ignoring. I'm also gonna show you how to use your constraints to force originality. And the 5th shift I'm gonna cover, we'll get to that at the end and will be the most important, is the shift that shows you how to turn a personal style into an actual business asset. That one right there is gonna be the one that changes your entire career trajectory. So let's get into it. Every, and I mean every great editor started with imitating, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Scorsese copied Kurosawa. Every photographer you admire studied someone before them. Imitation is how craft enters your body. It's how your hands learn to move before your mind catches up. But the problem isn't that you imitated. The problem is that most editors never graduate from imitation. They get comfortable inside someone else's framework, and then they just stay there because it works. Clients approve it, it gets views, it's safe. But here's where the conventional advice falls apart. People say, just be yourself. That's meaningless though, if you haven't even figured out who you are creatively. That's like telling a musician who's only ever played covers to just write a song. From what? Like from where? So let's talk about what the actual exit looks like. Try this. This week, open up 3 of your favorite projects, the ones that you've been proudest of, and ask one uncomfortable question. Which decisions in this edit were actually mine? And which ones did I borrow from someone else? And be specific. I'm talking about the pacing, the color choices, the transition style. Mark literally every borrowed element. And whatever's left, that is the seed of your voice. And what you find might actually surprise you. Because your voice is already there, it's just buried under layers of influence, which leads directly into the 2nd shift that we're gonna talk about. Most editors study their influences at only a surface level. They see a cool transition and then they recreate it. They see a color grade and they try to match it. They're studying the what, but the editors who actually end up developing a voice, they consistently study not the what, but the why. Here's what I mean. Take any editor whose style that you admire. Don't look at what they're doing, but ask why it works. Why does their pacing feel that way? What emotion are they trying to hold the viewer inside of? Why do they cut there instead of 2 frames later? When you study intention instead of technique, you start building a library of principles, not just tricks. And this is why so many people plateau creatively. They're collecting tricks from 10 different editors and stitching them together like Frankenstein's monster. Nothing coheres. There's nothing that really actually feels like them. So try this next. Pick one editor whose work you absolutely love. Watch one of their projects 3 times. First time, just experience it. And the second time, write down every cut, like every color shift, every audio choice that stands out. And then the 3rd time, next to each note, write why you think they made that choice. What emotion were they protecting? What story beat were they serving? When you do this, you stop absorbing style at the surface and you start actually absorbing the creative logic. And the creative logic is something that you can adapt and it becomes yours. Now, most people think the next step is just more studying, but it's actually the complete opposite. This is the one that sounds backwards, but it's actually the most powerful creative tool that I've ever encountered. You don't find your creative style by having more options, but you actually find it by having fewer options. Think about it, when you open Premiere with every plugin, every LUT, every transition pack available, you just default to what's familiar, what you've seen work before. But when you strip it all away, that's when something original has to happen because your brain has no template to fall back on. So here's a challenge. And I'm being serious, do this one. Take a project, and I mean any project, and give yourself one absurd constraint. Maybe edit an entire video using only hard cuts, no transitions at all. Or maybe only use one type of font. Or maybe every shot has to be under 2 seconds. Or no music until the last 30 seconds. I remember I did a no B-roll challenge last year for one of my video essays that I did. And what happens is wild. When you remove that safety net, you start making decisions that you've never made before. You end up solving problems in ways that are uniquely yours. And the solutions that you create, those weird unexpected choices that you made because you had to, that's your style starting to speak. So try this. Before your next edit, write down one constraint on a sticky note and put it on your monitor and commit to it for the entire project. Not as a gimmick, but as like creative discipline. And if you're still watching at this point, guys, then that's awesome because I know that you are already taking this seriously. And that already separates you from most editors who just want another tutorial because guys, this is where things get even deeper. I want to shift gears for a second because there's something that happens around this stage that no one warns you about. Basically what happens is, of course, you're starting to experiment, you try constraints, you study your influences at a different level. But then what happens that people don't tell you about is you literally get overwhelmed because you literally have too many ideas. You have too many directions and every project just feels like a fork in the road and you don't know which path is you. And this is where a lot of editors kind of stall out. The fix isn't just another mood board. It's something that I like to call a decision filter. And here's how it works. Just pick like 3 words, not technical words, emotional ones that describe the feeling that you want every single one of your edits to evoke. So don't say like cinematic or clean. Use words like relentless, intimate, unsettling, or like warm, unhurried, honest, like chaotic, playful, sharp. Those 3 words will then become your filter for literally every creative direction moving on forward in that one project. So when you're choosing between 2 cuts, think which one is more relentless. When you're picking between a color grade, think which one feels more intimate. Pushing yourself into this corner is what stops you from second guessing, and it helps start building your consistency because that consistency over time is what actually becomes recognizable as a style. So again, another actionable step, try this. Pause this video if you need to, and then write down those 3 words. Don't overthink it. I'm talking about the first 3 emotional words that come to mind when you think about the edits that you wish to make. These are going to be your filter. Please put them somewhere where you see them every time you edit, maybe another sticky note on the monitor. And quick, before we go on, real quick, I'm genuinely curious about something. Out of these first 4 shifts that we've covered, the imitation audit, the setting the why, the constraint challenge, and the 3-word filter, which one has hit you the hardest so far? Like, which one has made you think that's exactly what I've been missing? Please drop it in the comments below. This really helps me when I'm creating future videos. And also, if you're sitting there like, I already do all this, then type already there in the comments. I want to see how many of you are already operating on this level. Okay, so this is now where we're going to connect the dots. Because style isn't a mood. It's not something that you feel on a good day and then lose on a bad one. Editors who have a recognizable voice, they've systemized their instincts. They have these go-to approaches for pacing. They have a default color philosophy. They have rules, and I'm talking about their own rules that they follow project after project. And those rules become the signature. So once you have your, say, 3-word filter, start documenting your decisions. Keep a running note. When I have this type of footage, I tend to do this. And after 10, 15, maybe 20 projects, you'll look back and see patterns. And those patterns, that will be your style. Written down, repeatable, yours. And real quick again, I know what we've been talking about today is all about making creative decisions that are yours. So I'm not gonna just hand you someone else's style in a box. But here's what my team and I did build. Yo, what's up guys? You do not need any more free presets that look like garbage. You need a tool set that actually works. Every editor has been there. You spend more time hunting for assets than actually editing. Free effects packs always look cheap. Paid effects packs cost a fortune, and nothing ever really works together. So our team built everything that you need in one place. 28 packs, 200 plus assets, cinematic titles, transitions, light leaks, overlays, screen templates, retro effects, VFX, all designed for Premiere Pro and After Effects, and they're all drag and drop. I've spent years teaching video editing to tens of millions of creatives through the Olufemii channel, and I've spoken at Adobe Max many times on how to get the most out of Premiere Pro and After Effects. These packs are built on everything that I've learned. Every one of them was made from scratch, and everyone has a full video tutorial. 28 packs, $1 each, instant download, lifetime access, and if it's not for you, you get a full refund within 7 days. No questions asked. All right, guys, this is what I've been teasing from the beginning. This is the 5th shift, and it's the one that separates editors who have a style from editors who have a career. Your editing style isn't just an artistic identity, it's a positioning strategy. Think about the editors or creators that you follow. The ones getting booked, getting recognized, getting tagged on social media when someone sees work that looks like theirs, they're not getting hired because they're the most technically skilled, even though many of them are. They're getting hired because clients know exactly what they're going to get. Because when you have a distinctive style, you stop competing with every other editor on the planet. You basically create a category of one. Clients don't compare you on price anymore because there's no one else to compare you to. You become the answer to a specific creative question that only you can answer. Think about the world creative genius of Solomon Ligfilm, the editing precision of director Matt Alonso, the emotion layering of editor Vinny Hobbs, the God-sanctioned creativity of my boys Peter and Daniel Tijasuni. This is exactly why the work that we did in this video matters. The imitation audit, the why behind your influences, the constraints, the 3-word filter. All of that isn't just artistic development, it's brand development. You're building a creative identity that actually markets itself, because every piece of work that you put out is a demonstration of something that only you can do. If you miss this connection, nothing else I've said matters. Your style isn't a luxury, it's the most valuable business asset you've ever built as a creator. So let me bring this together. At the start of this video, you might have believed that style is something that you're born with, that some editors are just so naturally creative and you just missed the gene. Or maybe you thought that the answer was more tutorials, more presets, more techniques. But now you know style is built intentionally through an honest audit of what you've been borrowing, through studying the logic behind the actual work that you admire, not just the surface, through constraints that force your brain off of autopilot, through a decision filter that turns instinct into consistency, and through understanding that the style that you develop isn't separate from your career, it is your career strategy, guys. You're not trying to become the next anybody, you're trying to become the first you. That's a good quote. And the editors, guys, who figure that out, they don't just get better work, they truly get to do the work that they love.